Right, 8 tips for you as a director if you're going into liquidation for the first time, okay? It's your first rodeo. You've never closed a company by a voluntary liquidation before. This video is for you. And I'll tell you how I know, because I've been where you're at. I've had to liquidate a business in the past, so I'm talking to you from first-hand experience. Tip number 1, listen, be prepared for some worry, stress, and overwhelm. Because, okay, we do this day in, day out. And on a very straightforward job, we can say to a director, listen, don't worry about it. You know, the business, you've done your best. The business has failed. It's a very straightforward process. And you will not take a blind bit of notice to me. So if you're going to have some worry, you're going to have some stress, you're going to have some overwhelm, what I suggest that you do is look after yourself. You know, get some sleep, right? At 5 o'clock, turn that bloody phone off, that work phone. There's nothing coming in on your emails after 5 o'clock that you can do about. There's nothing. If an email comes in at 7 o'clock at night, there's nothing you can do about that email. Bar worry and cause yourself another shit night's sleep. So there's going to be some stress. There's going to be some overwhelm. There's going to be some worry. Take care of yourself. Eat well. Exercise. Get to bed at the right time and turn the bloody phone off. Tip 2. There is going to be a shitload of paperwork with liquidation. Honestly, you would not believe the amount of bits of paper that are coming your way. So, what I suggest that you do when all this paperwork comes, turn on some tunes, zone out, sign the paperwork, and just knuckle down and get it done. Don't put it off. Honestly, it's coming at you. You might as well set a bit of time aside, shut the doors, turn the phone off, get all the paperwork done, send it back to the insolvency practitioner. Do not delay. Tip number 3. You've got to get an accurate picture of where your business is at. And what I mean by that is you've got to get up-to-date statements, who you owe money to. You know, you've got to ideally get all your returns in. You know, you'll get in more trouble for not putting returns in than you will for not paying the returns that you do put in. Sad but true. You know, so get your VAT returns in, get your PAYE in, get your final set of accounts is ideal, really. And I'll tell you why it's ideal, comes on to my next point. Unless you've done a final set of accounts, you're not going to know whether you have an overdrawn director's loan account unless you have an up-to-date and accurate accounting software like Sage, Xero, QuickBooks. So, yeah, get your paperwork up to date so you get an accurate picture of where the business is at. I think this is point 5. I think this is point 5, right. Understand your personal liabilities, okay? So you'll go to a liquidator and go, right, I need to liquidate or insolvency practitioner. Right, I need to get into liquidation. How much is it going to cost? 4 grand, 5 grand, 6 grand plus VAT, depending on where you're at. And you're just going to, a lot of people just rush in. Yeah, no problem. It'll get rid of everything. And then they've got people knocking on their door for more money. And they generally, an insolvency practitioner will try and recover fees off you after you've gone into liquidation on things like overdrawn directors' loan accounts. So it's dead important that if you're going into liquidation, you're closing your company via this route, you understand if you've got an overdrawn loan account, how much it is, and what you're going to do about it. So when you've got an overdrawn loan account, you owe the company money, okay? Some people don't understand that. I've done tons of videos, so go and search for them, right? But if you owe the company money and you're going into insolvency, the insolvency practitioner is duty-bound to get that money from you or try and get that money from you. Now, if you've not got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, they're not going to be able to get anything off you. It's not as much of a problem. But if you've got equity in your property, you've got savings, you've got other business interests, it's really important you get this issue dealt with the insolvency practitioner and you find out how they're going to settle the overdrawn loan account once you go into liquidation. So tip 6, Listen, build a relationship with your insolvency practitioner. Honestly, you know, once you've chosen who you're going to liquidate with, for God's sake, be nice to them. Be courteous to them. Comply with them. When they ring you, answer the phone. When they ask you a question, answer the bloody question. And don't try and hide stuff from them, because they'll find it. I think this is point 7. I've been really bad on my numeracy this morning. And point 7 is, do not be pushed or rushed. Okay? The minute you become insolvent, you need to take advice swiftly, right? But there's a difference between taking advice swiftly and being forced, rushed, and pushed into making a bad decision without understanding all the consequences. Take your time, take a breath, and watch all my other videos that will tell you what questions you should be asking a liquidator before you sign with them. And my final tip today, which is tip number 8. Before you sign with an insolvency practitioner, have a full proposal. Get everything in writing off them. Now, some insolvency practitioners won't want to do the work pre-appointment that will allow them to give you something in writing, because what you're checking for is there any accusations of misfeasance? Is there any overdrawn loan accounts that need settling? Are there any intercompany loans that need to be dealt with? And for an insolvency practitioner to understand this and to be able to offer a solution, they're going to need to do a bit of work. And you're going to ask them to do a bit of work before you pay them or make a decision. And some of them don't like that. They're not the insolvency practitioner for you. Whoever you go with, make sure everything's in writing. I hope you found these tips useful. Thanks for your time. God bless.